Hello, fifth graders. Today I'm going to talk to you about the next two steps in the process for solving equations. So let's get started. All right, we're going to talk about the basic steps. I introduced the steps to you yesterday when or last time I should say, when I was giving you the steps of collecting. So we're going to go through those steps again, and then we're going to go through the steps 2 and 3 in order to get this down right. So what are the three steps? There are three steps to solving an equation, algebraic equation. The first step is collecting. The second step is isolating all the ends by themselves. And the third step is just one n. So we've covered collecting. And so today we're going to review collecting, and then we're going to cover steps 2 and steps 3. And they seem complicated, but once you understand all three steps, it's actually quite simple. What we're about to do is very, very simple once you understand it. So again, I want you to practice this. I want you to pay close attention, and I want you to, when I ask you to pause it and try one on your own, I really want you to do that just to get some practice with it while you've got me here going through problems. So let's go through our first step here. Collecting, again, we did this yesterday. When we collect, we gather things together that are the same. In this case, this is the same problem that I had for you yesterday, 5n plus 3n plus 25 plus 10 plus 5. Now the difference here is this 120. I've added this to here. This is the same that you saw yesterday, but now I'm saying this equals 120. And what I'm really saying here is that this equals sign means that this side and this side balance each other out. All these things together equal 120. So remember, 5 times some number plus 3 times some number plus 25 plus 10 plus 5 altogether equals 120. So for the first step, we're going to not pay attention to this side over here. It's not important. We're going to collect, just like we did yesterday. We're going to collect the numbers that have ends and the numbers that don't have ends into piles. And if you remember from yesterday, this is the same problem. We decided that this was 8n plus 40. 3 plus 5 plus 3, 25, 10, and 5. That makes 40. 5 and 3 makes 8. So this is step 1. What we get is our collection on the left side and our number over here on the right side. This together adds up. This multiplies and then adds to 40 to make 120. And remember, this part balances. These two sides balance. They are equal to each other. That's why we have an equal sign right there. All right, let's go on to step 2, isolating the ends. Now, isolating means getting something all by itself. And that's what we want to do. Right here, I have ends and I have this 40. I don't really want this 40. I want to get rid of this 40. It's getting in the way of solving this equation. So I want to isolate the ends away from this number right here. Well, if we've got something that we don't want, how do we get rid of it? Well, we take it away. So we're going to take it away. This 40 is keeping this 8n from being by itself, so we're going to subtract it. We're going to take it away. Now, when you're doing this, I want you to pay really close attention. What you need to do is you need to put the 40, you need to put the thing that you're taking away right underneath the thing you're taking it away from. You need to make sure that your you need to make sure that you're following the steps and that each step you're writing comes the step right underneath each previous step. We practice that with PEMDAS, and I really want you to get in the habit of practicing with algebra. It's really, really, really important. All right, so I'm going to take 40 away from this side because 40 minus 40 is 0, and that gets it away. But when I do that, something here is not quite right. Remember when I said earlier that these two sides balance each other? Well, if I take 40 away from this side, I'm unbalancing the equation. It no longer works the way it's supposed to. This side is now smaller than this side because I took 40 away from this side. So if I'm going to do this, whatever I do to one side, I still have to do to the other side. So if I do something to this side over here has to be taken away as well. So really what it should look like instead is actually this. I've got a 40 here. Lost my cursor there. I got a 40 here, and I got 120. I'm going to take 40 away from both of them because I have to balance both sides. If I take it just away from this left side, then in reality, I'm not balancing. I'm unbalancing it. So I want to take 40 away because I want to get rid of this 40. So 40 minus 40, that's 0. And 120 minus 40, that's 80. So I could write 0 here, but I'm not actually going to because I just want it to go away. So that's going to leave me with only this 8n and whatever 120 minus 40 is right here. So our new equation is going to become 8n equals 80 because 120 minus 40, that's 80. The 40 minus 40 goes away, so it's not here anymore, and the 8n just comes down. So my new equation is 8n equals 80. And I isolated it. The 8n is all by itself. All right, Let's move on to step 3 now. Now we want to get down to just one n, okay? We want to find out what one n equals. Well, I've got 8 of them, and together, multiplied times some number, that's 80. Well, you can probably tell what that is, right? You can know that 8 times 10 is 80, so that n therefore must be 10. But how do we get there mathematically, right? How do we prove that? Well, this is how. What we're going to need to do is we're going to need to get rid of the 8 part. It's because we don't really want 8n. We don't want 5. We don't want 100. We don't want 10. We don't want 1,000. We just want 1. 1n. And we can write 1n just like n, just like this. So in order to turn the 8 into a 1, we are going to divide both sides by 8. I know it feels like we could subtract it, but you have to remember that this is multiply. This is 8 times n. So in order to get rid of it, I'm actually going to have to divide it. So I'm going to do it like this. I'm going to do it kind of like the way we did with fractions. I'm going to say, well, if I divide both sides by 8, 8 divided by 8, that's 1, and 80 divided by 8, that's 10. So what I get is n, 1n, is equal to 10. And now I have solved the equation. I know what my n is. I took that whole huge long thing and I boil it down to a single number. And that's really what we're doing. It's like a treasure hunt. You've got this n, you've got this treasure box, and you need to get it down into one number. All right, let's practice another one. Let's see again how once we understand the process, we can go through this fairly quickly. And I also want to show you what it looks like when we go through it. So here's our problem. 7n plus 11n plus 15 minus 7, all of that equals 62. So we're going to go through step 1. Step 1 is collecting. I have 7n plus 11n. Those are my pile of n's. I have 15 minus 7. That's my pile of not n's. I'm going to collect, and I'm going to rewrite them right underneath, right in here. So 7 plus 11, that's 18. 15 minus 7, that's 8. So my new equation is these two combined make 18n. These two combined to make 8. 62 stays the same. So my new equation is 18n plus 8 equals 62. Notice I just rewrote it right here. This way, if I make a mistake, I can come back and find that mistake and work my way backwards. All right, step 1 is done. Now let's move on to step 2, isolating. I want to get rid of the 8. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to take it away. But remember, whatever we take away from the left side, we have to also take away from the right side. So 18n is going to stay, but the 8 is going to go away. I'm taking this away. 62 minus 8, that's 54. So my 18n is now equal to 54. So how do I figure out this next part? Well, that's where the last step, just one n, is. What am I going to divide these two numbers by? Remember, I want 1, so I'm going to take whatever this number is, and I'm going to divide both sides by that number, because whatever this is, divided by itself, is going to be 1. So 18n divided by 18, 54 divided by 18, just like this. So 18 divided by 18, that's 1. 54 divided by 18, that's 3. So n equals 3, and I can check that. I can put it back in here and figure that out. So n equals 3, so 3 times 18, well, that's 54, plus 8, that's 62. That's how I know my answer is correct. All right, I'm going to give you one more practice problem, and this time I want you to see the problem, and then I want you to pause the video. And I want you to try this on your own. Give it a shot, get a piece of paper, get a whiteboard, but write down the problem and try it just the way I've shown you here. And then unpause the video and check, see whether what I did matches what you did. And that's how you know you're on the right track. All right, so last one. 5n plus 6 plus 4n minus 1 equals 59. All right, go ahead and pause the video and see if you can solve it on your own. All right, now that you've solved it on your own and you are back, let's see how you did. All right, step 1, collecting. I have a pile of n's and a pile of not n's. I have 5 plus 4. Remember, the plus gets attached to this symbol. So I have 5 plus 4n, that's 9. The plus, this is a positive 6. This is a negative 1 or a minus 1. So 6 minus 1, that's 5. So my next row should be 9n plus 5 equals 59. That's my collection. Now I'm going to isolate. I want to get rid of this 5, so I'm going to take it away from both sides. 5 minus 5, 59 minus 5. That's going to leave me with 0 on this side, and 59 minus 5 is 54. So 9n equals 54. We're getting very close now. So now we're going to do step 3, which is just 1n. Divide both sides by the number in front of the n, in this case 9. And we're going to find our answer. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 54 divided by 9, that's 6. All right, So this is the basics of algebra. We're going to do a lot of algebra, quite a few lessons, but really the steps are going to stay the same. I'm going to make them slightly more complicated each time. I'm going to add things like negatives and fractions and all sorts of things, but the steps themselves, collecting, isolating the n, and just one n, those don't change. We're just going to keep adding tricks to each of those steps, but those three steps are going to guide us through all of our algebra and, in fact, some fairly complicated equations. So good luck on the exercises, and I'll see you in the next video.